Okay, we'll pick up where we left off and continue with some tan. So again, find the exact value of tan 255 degrees. So we'll use our strategy of the 45. So if I took 255, subtract the 45, 210. And 210 is one of our multiples of 30, 60, 90 triangles. So there's 210 plus 45 to give me 255. So we'll be using the sum version of the tan identity. So tan 255 is the same thing as tan 210 plus 45. So the formula we'll be using is our tan u plus v. In this case, u is 210 and v is 45. Substituting these numbers in, there's our tan 210 and the tan 45. Tan 210, tan 45. So from previous problems, we already know tan 45 is 1. Let's go find what tan of 210 is. Let's see. So again, there's 45, tan is 1, and 210 is right here, tangent, radical 3 over 3. So let's substitute the values in. The radical 3 over 3 for the 210, and 1 for the 45. There's the radical 3 over 3 and the 1 for 45. Let's simplify. Numerator gives us 1 plus radical 3 over 3. Denominator, 1 minus radical 3 over 3. Notice I just kept it in the same order. The 1's first and the radicals second. So let's go to the calculator and see what we get here. Let's go ahead and clear this out. So we get 1 plus on top, right? Yeah. 1 plus, there we go. Radical 3 over 3. Square root of 3 over 3. And in the denominator, 1 minus. Oop, don't want to do that. There we go. Radical 3 over 3 over 3. Calculator says radical 3 plus 2. Radical 3 plus 2. All right, 2 more problems. This time we'll look at radians. So tan of 5 pi over 12. Again, we're using the strategy. When it's in degrees, we use the 45 to help us find the two numbers. And here it was 3 pi over 12. Well, we know 3 plus 2 is 5. So there's our 2 pi over 12 plus the 3 pi over 12 gives us the 5 pi over 12. So in this case, we're using the sum identity. Here, u is going to be the 2 pi over 12 or the pi over 6. Well, the v is pi over 4, which is the same thing as the 3 pi over 12. So the 5 pi over 12 expands to the 2 pi over 12 plus the 3 pi over 12, which can be simplified to the pi over 6 and the pi over 4. Again, just like we did with the sum and difference for sine and cosine, whether you use the green numbers or the purple numbers, you'll get the exact same answer. So I'm going to be using the purple, smaller values, pi over 6 and pi over 4. So there's the pi over 6 and pi over 4 on top with addition, pi over 6, pi over 4 on the bottom with subtraction. So we just need to know the values of tan pi over 6 and tan pi over 4. Tan pi over 6, well there's pi over 6, tan radical 3 over 3, and pi over 4, which is that 45. We're should start to realize that that's always going to be that 1. So radical 3 over 3 and 1 are the numbers we're going to be substituting. So radical 3 over 3 plus the 1 on top, and radical 3 over 3 times 1 on the bottom. When we simplify this, again, I like putting the 1 first. So that'll be 1 plus radical 3 over 3, bottom 1 minus radical 3 over 3. I think we just did that one. Let's see. Yep, we did. 1 plus radical 3 over 3, 1 minus radical 3 over 3. So we know our answer is going to be radical 3 plus 2. One last one. Find the exact value of tan negative 13 pi over 12. So again, we're going to be using that 3 strategy again. So if I took, say, we'll use a 13. 13 plus 3 gives us 16. So if we did 3 minus the 16 gives us negative 13. More specifically, 3 pi over 12 minus 16 pi over 12. Alrighty, so there's the 3 pi over 12 minus 16 pi over 12 gives us the negative 13 pi over 12. So here we'll be using the subtraction form, the difference. U minus V on top, U plus the addition on the bottom. So in this case, U is going to be the pi over 4, which is the simplified version of 3 pi over 12. And the 4 pi over 3, which is the simplified version of the 16 pi over 12. So the original problem of negative 13 pi over 12, the difference, 3 pi over 12 minus the 16 pi over 12, or the simplified version, pi over 4, 4 pi over 3. So when we substitute everything into the identity, we've got the pi over 4, 4 pi over 3 on top, pi over 4, 4 pi over 3. So tangent of pi over 4, we've already seen, that's 1. So we just need to confirm tangent of 4 pi over 3. Let's see, 4 pi over 3, there we go. Tangent of 4 pi over 3 is radical 3. So when we substitute it in, that'll give us 1 minus radical 3 on top, 1 plus 1 times radical 3. So 1 minus on top and 1 plus on the bottom. Let's see what we get. We said, let's clear this up. 1 minus radical 3 on top, square root of 3 on top, and 1 plus square root of 3 on the bottom. Radical 3 minus 2. There's our answer. Okie doke. So that's the sum and difference identities for both sine, cosine, tangent using both degrees and radians.